Hey, everybody, welcome back. I have some good news and some bad news for you. Good news is this should be a really, really short presentation. Bad news, I don't have slideshows for this chapter. Long story short, I didn't make them. Someday I'll have everything prepared for everything and then I'll die or something so I can't have a year with nothing missing. Of course, that would be weird. Anyway, so I'm using someone else's slides. So during this, make sure you're taking notes for things that are important. I'll try and highlight those. But especially this chapter, make sure you're doing the homework and the review because that'll be a lot of what's on the test for sure. All right, let's get started. So we're going to be talking about kind of what leads up to the Civil War. We've kind of hinted at a few things so far already, but we're going to talk about some more specific things now. One of the big problems that we had was this idea that's called sectionalism. Sectionalism is the idea where you care more about your part of something than the whole. So you want to benefit your part, even if it hurts the other part, right? So we're talking about in the North and the South here. They just care about their own benefit more than the entire country, right? So one of the things that was driven on by sectionalism was tariffs. Tariffs help the North and they hurt the South 99% of the time. Remember, a tariff is a tax on imported goods. The South doesn't like that because they import everything from England that they like, right? They bring in furniture, they bring in clothing. That's what they spend all their money on, really. And so they have to pay more for English goods to come in. What the North is trying to do with the tariff is force Southerners to buy their goods instead of bringing them in from England. And the South doesn't really like that. Also, the taxes that are brought in from the tariffs then pay for the government. So they didn't like this having to pay extra. They were the ones paying for the government, essentially, in their mind especially. And like I said, this protected Northern industry. So the North really, really liked tariffs. It helped pay for the government. It made their economy stronger because Southerners had to buy from them or pay a lot more. So it was really good for the North. The South hated it. And the North started imposing more and more of these tariffs on things. As the North industry started to boom, they tried to protect themselves even more from England. We also ended up having another war with England, so we wanted to stop importing more of their stuff. So in 1816, there was another tariff that we introduced in the North. Basically, it was a 25% increase on British goods for most everything. So you had to pay a 25% tax. It's huge. I mean, you think about it, you go to the store right now, you pay like a 7% tax, and that still is annoying. 25% is massive. American industries really, really like this tariff, but the South, very, very upset about it. These two lovely folks end up debating this. John C. Calhoun on the left and Andrew Jackson on the right. Calhoun was actually the vice president and Jackson was the president. They disagree on this and they start throwing words at each other in public while trying to serve in the same presidency. It's pretty awkward. Calhoun actually calls this the Tariff of Abominations. That's the nickname he gives to this 1828 import tax. Southerners hated this one even more. So the vice president calls out the president on this. And basically, the vice president says the states should nullify this law. He says states should be within their rights to say, no, we're not going to pay the tariff, sorry. The president disagrees on that, saying that that's unconstitutional. Both of them have some arguments, but neither want to see each other's arguments for sure. So South Carolina decides, hey, we'll take the vice president's advice. And they decide, nope, we're not going to do the tariffs. They stopped collecting them. And they said to the federal government, if you are going to force us to collect these taxes, then we will secede. Secede means to withdraw from the Union, to pull out of the country. So as a compromise, Jackson actually sends federal troops to force the states, especially South Carolina, to pay the tariffs, but he does lower the tariff. I can't remember the exact percentage, but it dropped by about half. So a much lower tariff, but they were forced to pay it. Not much of a compromise from some people's perspective for sure. Anyway, that is actually the whole section for today. So make sure you do your homework. Again, because this isn't my slideshow, it's a little bit more difficult to follow. So make sure you're doing the homework and paying attention to those questions. Alrighty, have a great rest of your day, guys.